guys have to see this. Florida Keys. We just left the Granabana Grove. We're heading to the cable park. And I don't have a kid in the back seat. We've got 11 boxes of mangoes though. I'm gonna shut the window because the lighting's getting a little foul. Look out the other side, Melissa. Show them that green water. Aqua. Oh, mangroves. Next bridge, you guys are gonna get it. Woo! So heading into the Florida Keys. It's just me and my honey. It's like our second honeymoon here. We haven't been here since our first. No little man, which is rare. We tried to bring him, but he didn't want to come. I don't want to force him, so weekend away alone, we'll take it. So getting to go to the cable park right now. Don't have Erica Cloth with us. She was the designer and there for the install originally. She couldn't make this trip, unfortunately. So hi, Erica. We're going to check out the cable park. Gonna be going down to Grimmel Grove. We're doing a fruit tour with Lloyd tomorrow through Key West. And we're gonna be exploring our way out of this place. So the Florida Keys, I haven't been here in probably 13, 14 years. We're gonna pan this thing out the window for a second. And you guys just have no idea. This water is aqua green. It's really something else. Absolutely beautiful. Living the dream. Florida, baby. All right, we are in Marathon and we're at a food forest in the Keys. So this is kind of crazy. Erica Clough was supposed to come here. She did a little bit of work here at the park, and I'm with Maddie today, and I'll let them tell you where we're at, what they're doing. It's pretty awesome. We'll kind of walk around and check the place out a little bit.
What's up, guys? Welcome. This is Other Side Adventure Park in Keys Cable. It's kind of we call it an action sports eco park right in Grassy Key. It's mile marker 59 in the town of Marathon. It's like the true heart of the Florida Keys. So property is an old aquaculture facility. Back in the 90s, it was like an industrial lobster farm and snapper farm. So they invested, tens of millions of dollars into this place at the time, having state-of-the-art technology. 1990 was not so state-of-the-art, it turned out, and after a couple failed sales attempts with the property, the whole project just kind of went under. So when we came on site, it was laying vacant for a better part of a decade, and literally about $5 to $10 million worth of industrial aquaculture equipment was all seized, rusted, and mostly destroyed. So it's been a very long, intense task of cleaning things up, repurposing all of the old material, scrapping, recycling, and removing all of the dilapidated stuff, and then slowly restoring this property that was basically just a barren wasteland of trash. And meeting a lot of people along the way. I was a professional athlete. I did kite surfing and wakeboarding and different action sports, and I would have never really thought that this would have been quite my forte. But
a food forest.
Yeah. Now it's like, if I could do anything all day, it would probably be garden, expand the plants, and then continue to groom the property. So we've got a long way to go, but have come insanely far from where we were. So Erica was a huge part of it. When her and I got introduced, she came in and held a PDC, and the first banana circle we actually had was this one in the middle right here. There's a big guanabana in there now. And working with the local community, there are a bunch of secret green thumbs down here, and all these kind of recluse gardeners that at home have their own little tropical oasis. Yeah. So started with just 2 varieties of bananas and some mangoes and some guanabana, papayas, pineapples, things of that nature, and now it's 14 varieties of just bananas and plantains, 3 mangoes, 2 different types of avocados, guanabana, carambola, the biggest moringa pods you'll ever see.
I saw that. We'll have to go by there.
Yeah, Canistel. There's probably 40, 50 different varieties of tropical fruit now. So it's pretty cool how it's just kind of evolved, and none of it's really, we've invested a little bit into it with different nurseries, but a lot of it's really been just bartering and plant exchange with different locals. That
really true permaculture.
Yeah.
So how did you find Erica? How did you find permaculture?
Erica had a good friend that lived in the Keys. It was her name's Kelly Walsh.
Okay.
A wonderful person that came down in the early days when we were basically just roaming around trying to figure out, what the next step was and what to do. So I took them on a bit of like a haunted hayride around the park, and you know, it definitely seemed a little more haunted back in the day.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But we were sitting on a big trailer covered in a big pile of mulch and cruising around, and she just started throwing all these ideas of plants and everything at me, and I was living in a trailer on site trying to grow my own food because I thought it would be cool to not have to leave Grassy Key every day and eat the same fried Keys food that exists everywhere. So that just snowballed, and Kelly kept telling me about this, you know, tropical fruit ninja named Erica Klopp that
she's a gangster.
So
that's good stuff.
She came down and just, you know, completely fell in love with the place and saw the same things that I did. And at the time, literally everybody said that we were absolutely crazy and this would never work and it was going to be a giant failure. And that was even more exciting for me.
Yeah, I love it.
Love to prove people wrong. And so you know, what started with just us kind of snowballing ideas around turned into a PDC. Brought in all these different kids from different universities, made all of these awesome renderings as like, you know, their final for their PDC of what we could do with the entire property for sustainability stuff. And then Eric and I came up with different ideas of how to make a carbon negative business that was, you know, the most economically viable way of operating a small business in a place that is so environmentally sensitive. You know, if you want to get into environmental economics, there's probably no more crucial place than the Florida Keys. You know, we have over 4.8 to 5 million unique visitors to the Keys on an annual basis, and we have a native population of less than 80,000 people. So everybody's coming here, not because of the 80,000 eclectic individuals that exist here, but because of the beautiful environment that we're surrounded by. And, you know, whether it's coastal pollution or, you know, water, sea level change and rise, or just, you know, the degradation and erosion of land, this is, you know, ground zero for it. So we want to really be a staple business down here, and through action sports, permaculture, and kind of land and resource management, we've created a incredibly profitable business structure for small businesses that's exclusively focused on sustainability. And we want to be an example that can really, you know, sort of set the pace for everybody else down here in the Keys. And for such an environmentally sensitive place, you know, people are a little more concerned about, you know, their wallets and their pockets. So if we can present these ideas in a less fanatical and kind of environmentally, you know, focused way, but actually prove the economic viability of it as well, then we're really changing opinions and, you know, swaying minds and, you know, making a positive effect on the local community and the people that visit here. So it's become an awesome thing. We run a summer camp. We get daily visitors, you know, anywhere from 50 to a couple hundred people a day. And we have 4.8 million unique drive-bys annually. So
wow. And a lot of frontage. I mean, you guys have some road out here.
Next to us, Marathon Airport has the largest highway frontage in the Keys. So we are sitting on just shy of half a mile out of 120 miles, and we've eradicated every invasive along the highway. We are basically using that elevated berm space. I've been dropping fresh mulch and compost on it for the last 5 years, and we are going to turn it into a, you know, half a mile food forest berm. It's fully irrigated, and it'll just be an awesome thing to drive by. We're going to get rid of our old dilapidated chain link fence, and it'll be a big living fence of, you know, agave, century plant, key limes, prickly pears, bougainvillea, and different kind of.
I haven't researched it, but I would guess this is probably the only place in the country with the cable park and the food forest, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now.
One of a kind. So yeah, somebody else I'm sure will copy. I mean, let's hope they copy.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, we want more of these.
That's,
you know?
the point of it. Is, you know, it's not just a fun thing to do, but it is a righteous, wholesome, and profitable thing to do. And, you know, people come in here all the time and talk about, man, what would it be like to live here? You know, gosh, this job must be, you know, so cool or something. It's, you know, what a terrible thing to have to do on a daily basis, to get up and make people smile and try to, you know, get the world to be a little better place. So
nice.
Super fun. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Maddie, give it to us.
This is going to be our artist village. You know, the theme will be, you kind of walk in and it's like an island marketplace. So in the action sports eco park aspect of it, you can come in, do the wakeboarding, kiteboarding, paddleboarding, all of our, you know, essential board sports that we offer. You know, from beginner to pro level, the instruction can really accommodate anybody. But then, so there's something for the whole family. You know, the retail shop will have all of the same surf shop style stuff that we have at other side board sports. But then these shipping containers are going to be craftsman space, and there's a huge issue with affordable housing and affordable workspace in the Keys because so much of our real estate ends up going to the tourism markets. So these shipping containers, we work really closely with one of the facilities out of the port, and a company called Crowley, and they end up bringing us, you know, overstocked containers that they have that have made, you know, 3 or 4 trips across the pond but are still dry inside. So we'll get them down here, we seal up the roofs, we'll build a secondary roof over it for insulation purposes. Everything's gonna be painted with a nice Caribbean style vibe, and then we'll cut out our own little double doors and people will be allowed to outfit them accordingly. But there will be 6 workshop spaces here that can be rented on a monthly or annual basis depending on the person. And right now we already have a wood and metal worker. We have a photo gallery that's gonna go in, as well as a tiki carver. So
nice.
there's a bunch of different people that are looking for these kind of gallery spaces, but there's nothing available because we really don't have this commercial and industrial land available down here. So the city and the county have been really awesome in working with us to get these allowed in as auxiliary structures. They just have to be tied down to hurricane standards. And you see we've kind of raised everything up a little bit so that when it does flood, which unfortunately it most definitely will, we'll be ready for it and be able to keep everything relatively dry and safe inside.
Just dry them out, yeah.
Yeah.
I love those shipping containers. I don't know if Miles said, we have a couple on the farm. I mean,
yeah,
for housing, for storage, I mean, they're solid and they're just a waste product, I think.
Structurally, and
yeah.
To talk about it on a sustainable aspect, you know, it is considered a secondary, you know, use item. It's something that otherwise would have been scrapped, recycled, or, you know, basically just melted back down and put into another one. So we've given it a second chance at life, and these will last us for at least 30 years.
Yeah.
We seal everything. We do all of the rust management and corrosion prevention right before we build them out, so everything gets sealed and then painted and upkept. And because they're risen off the ground just a little bit on the railroad ties and the 6x6s, it keeps anything down low from just continuously corroding. So this will be marked off. You know, you'll have like your gumbo limbo shop, and then you'll have, you know, a guanabana shop, a mango shop,
nice,
a tamarind shop.
yeah.
Each one will have its kind of staple fruit tree out front, providing a little bit of a canopy and more of like your sort of commerce, you know, communication space. Everything will be isolated with like these little berms of banana trees, sugar cane, and kind of like creating these individual spots. But this will be just a big flowing area with the food and beverage, with the surf shop, with the art walk around the lake, and then your little marketplace in here with your craftsmen and artists. So, you know, that's where the whole island vibe of kind of walking through and finding all of your little things, you know, whether you're into this or that, we hope to have something for everybody.